Yo, what is going on, y'all? It is your boy AT from AT's Barstool, and today we are back with another video. I'm finally back this week. Last week I was down in North Carolina, if you guys didn't know. And if you guys are new to this channel, please like, comment, subscribe to this channel. And also, don't forget to comment R.I.P. Kyren Lacy, as he sadly passed away this Sunday. But with that being said, though, let's get into a video. Now, the first topic we are going to be talking about today is what do I think about the transfer portal? Today, honestly, I think the transfer portal, it is a lot going on, with a lot of moves and all that, especially due to the fact that NIL is involved. So a lot of money's in it now. And honestly, I feel like it's good for the players and also not that well, or yeah, decent for some of the coaches, depending on what it is. And for the small schools, I really do kind of feel bad for them because they're trying to build up and they can't really do that because they don't have the money or whatever. And the transfer portal is just a lot going on. A lot of people hit the transfer portal each and every year. And yeah, it's a lot though. But you got to do what you got to do, and business is business. But some of these small schools, there are some small schools that do get a lot of people come into their school from the transfer portal, whatever, and all that. So yeah, that does factor in too. But due to the fact that a lot of these people or a lot of these players want to go to bigger schools, that makes it 10 times harder for smaller schools to recruit. So yeah, with that being said, honestly about this transfer portal, I don't think it's not that good or whatever. Well, it's good for some players because if you want to get out of a bad situation, you can just hit the transfer portal. But for these coaches, not really, because now it's every year they have a brand new team because there's 50 players in the transfer portal now. So yeah, honestly, yeah, that factors in a lot. And now the second topic that we are going to be talking about today is NIL. What do I think about NIL? One of y'all asked me in the comments to make a video about it and pretty much asked what do I feel about NIL, and I told y'all I was going to do it, so I'm going to do it. So NIL, I feel like it's good, but also bad. It's a lot of pros and cons to NIL. As let me go to the pros, such as players get paid. College athletes, some of the top college athletes, they get paid, they get brand deals or whatever. And not only that, they get their popularity up too. The more they get money, the more money and more brand deals they get or whatever. Or it's the other way around still. It's still good for the players, for most players or every player, but it's also kind of a bad thing too. And the con about having all that NIL and stuff is, well, not for the players, but for the coaches, is that people leave other schools. Not people, but players. They leave other schools to go to bigger and better schools who's offering more money or whatever. And it's pretty much getting to the point where people are just getting just straight up ridiculous amount of NIL deals. One guy, he got paid 7 mil, or he got offered 7 mil, which is AJ DeBansa. He got paid 7 mil to play for BYU, which is kind of ridiculous because that's almost a 1-year deal for an NBA contract or something. It's crazy. The amount of money that these coaches in the programs are trying to pay these athletes or trying to offer these athletes is a lot. And it is also getting out of hand too. Another con that factors in to NIL, or that's not that well for NIL, is the fact that college players, they stay in college for about 7 to 8 years, all the way up until they're 26, 27 years old. And it's really ridiculous that they do that. And not only that, nobody should be staying 7 years of college just to get just straight up NIL money and transfer to 5 different schools. It's ridiculous. Honestly, it gets out of hand every year, each and every year. Every news article or every just every yeah, just every I'm gonna cut this out. Well, just every news article or every I don't know how to explain it. It's just every time on the news or whatever, or you hear it on social media. You hear somebody's getting paid 7 mil to play their 6th year at college. It's ridiculous. And honestly, I feel like it's mainly due to the fact that COVID happened. Yes, the COVID year happened in 2021, and I feel like that's when things started getting out of hand with this transfer portal and NIL as a whole. Reason being that the fact that it's just getting out of hand. Why is people staying 7 years of college? Like, I understand if you get injured and then COVID year, you get injured, so you're redshirted, and then COVID year or whatever, you know, yeah, you got an extra 4 more years or whatever. Yeah, that's okay or whatever. That's okay, but not okay, because not only do you still get an opportunity to play the game you love, but you're also just wasting some years of your life because you're literally staying in college for like 6 years for what? And even, especially due to the fact if you don't get drafted, if you're not going to the NFL draft and you stay 6 years of college just to graduate, not going to the draft, being undrafted, and not only that, like just being a free agent or just being an undrafted free agent for like a good 2 years, and now you're like 28, 29 years old, trying to be on an NFL team. It's just like at this point, it's like you just wasted like pretty much your prime, your whole time or whatever. So yeah, I feel like NIL, it's kind of getting out of hand. It's getting to that point. And at one point, or not one point, but one day, we're probably going to see somebody who's like 30 or 31 years old in college. NIL, it's good, but it's also bad. A lot of bad, and due to the fact that it's like just getting ridiculous because you got, well, like I said before, you got people staying in college for about 6, 7 years and just a lot and all that. So yeah, I honestly think it's made more bad than good, but I feel like it's good for the players though. And the one thing about this too is the fact that it's way harder for high school football players that are trying to go to college and trying to make it to the NFL. It's going to be 10 times harder for them because of NIL. And now you got people that's playing JUCO football, D3 football. They're trying to play D1 football, and now they hit in the transfer portal after like one pretty good season or solid season at the college they was at, and now they're trying to make it D1 and trying to get offered too. So yeah, and not only that, they're also keeping their eligibility on top of that. You gotta think about it, because they can play JUCO, D3, NAIA, and they will still have a good 4 years of eligibility for D1 though. It's ridiculous. It's just out of hand at this point in time. And do I say it's got to stop? I feel like they should just like jot it down. Like, when I mean jot it down, I mean like lower it, unless it's like a reasonable excuse or something. Like, say for instance, like somebody hits the transfer portal and they're like in like their 4th year of college or 5th year of college, pretty much. Now if they get like injured or something and they end up being redshirt or whatever, yeah, that's reasonable. To do another year, you want to try to make it to the NFL. If you don't think you're going to be projected high or whatever, or they don't think you're going to be projected high, then yeah, I would say do a 5th year. But other than that though, 5 years, if there's anything in college that I suggest, is like 5 years should really be the max, unless you like get really unlucky and you're getting hurt consistently. Which, I mean, I know NFL players, not NFL, but college football players, basketball players, they get hurt. Athletes overall, they get hurt. But it's getting to a point where it's just getting like out of hand. Like, there's people getting redshirted, and then they'll go ahead, not play for a whole year, or they probably decide themselves they're not going to play a whole year and still keep 4 years of eligibility, and then transfer somewhere else. And yeah, it's crazy though. That's all I gotta say. And all that, yeah, it's a lot, man. Shouldn't really be like that. It should really be like 5 years. If you like get hurt unexpectedly or whatever, if you get unlucky and get hurt or whatever, you could tell them redshirt you or whatever. And I feel like, yeah, that's reasonable to be redshirt or whatever. But yeah, other than that, yeah, it's ridiculous though. That's it. And also, my other opinion though that I was going to talk about is my opinion on Xavier Lee, Princeton guard, who ended up transferring to Florida. Yes, Xavier Lee did go on to transfer to Florida from Princeton. Xavier Lee had a great season at Princeton, where he averaged 16.9 points, 6.1 rebounds, and 5.5 assists, shooting 43% from the field. Honestly, my opinion on Xavier Lee transferring to Florida, I honestly think, it's a pretty good move. He was one of the best players on a Princeton team who wasn't all that good this year. I mean, they did go to the semifinals and all that, but they didn't do all that well as they did in previous years. And not only that, I've watched Xavier Lee play myself, and honestly, it's literally just him. And like he literally just scores about 20 a game, and then everybody else scores their little 3 cents or whatever, scores about 7, 8 points. It's ridiculous. Not ridiculous, but Xavier Lee pretty much carries that team, and I think we all know it. And that team is pretty much built around him. And now he's playing for Florida, where they play team ball, play defense, they're intense or whatever. And not only that, they got a couple guys going to the draft too. So Xavier Lee, due to the fact that they're losing guys like Walter Clayton Jr., Hugh, and so on, I feel like this is a good opportunity for Lee to go there. And not only that, he got a good chance to go into the tournament again one more time. And not only that, he's going to have a pretty solid team around him with guys such as Alex Condon, Thomas Hugh, and so on. And I feel like that's going to be pretty good for him. He got a pretty good supporting cast coming around Florida. Well, when he's around Florida or whatever, or when he plays there next year. And yeah, I really want to see what he does. And honestly, this transfer portal, it has a lot of other people transferring too, such as Bennett Storch, who actually went on to come from Drake, and he ended up leaving Drake to go to Iowa. And then you have Deron Williams, who's still undecided. And you also have R.J. Lewis Jr. from St. Louis, their leading scorer. He's also undecided. And then you got Devon Dent, who actually transferred from New Mexico to UCLA now. And that's exactly what I mean, going from small school to big school. And yeah, that's my honest opinion on the transfer portal, Xavier Lee, all that. But let's talk about the NFL draft. My honest opinion on this NFL draft, I think this draft class is going to be a pretty solid draft class. Pretty interesting due to the fact that it has a lot of notable guys such as Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, and Ashton Jeanty. And I am going to go through, and today it's the NFL draft. Yeah, this year's NFL draft, it is really interesting this year, especially with a bunch of good talent such as Travis Hunter, Ashton Jeanty, and Abdul Carter, and you got other good quarterback talent such as Cam Ward, Shador Sanders, and Daxton Dart, and so on. And today is NFL draft day as I'm recording this video, and this video is going to come out Saturday either way. But this draft, this is my prediction on how the draft is going to go. But today we are going to do my prediction on this year's draft, and we are going to go not round 1 through 7, but we are going to go pick 1 to pick 32 in the first round alone. All right, the next thing that we are going to talk about, y'all, is the NFL draft in my honest opinion. We already know that is coming up in a couple hours, as right now it's currently 1:41 on a Thursday. I know this video coming out Saturday and all that, but I want to give my opinion on it real quick. And the first thing we are going to talk about is the number 1 pick. And the first team that we're going to talk about is going to be the Tennessee Titans. Obviously, they have the number 1 pick. We are going to go round 1 through 32. Number 1 pick, the Titans got it. Who are they going to draft? I feel like it's going to be a pretty obvious choice for them. Even though they need a quarterback, the quarterback room is not that good. So I don't think they're going to go at quarterback. And I feel like they're going to go at edge rusher and get one of the best athletes in this draft class. Because they don't need a corner. So they need an edge rusher. They're going to get Abdul Carter. Really good edge rusher. Good speed rusher. He can also do power moves too on top of that. And he's just a really good defensive end, edge rusher that can get to the quarterback. So I definitely think that he's going to be the guy for them. And then the Cleveland Browns. They do need a lot of things: quarterback, receiver, tackle, corner. They need all that. And honestly, with the second pick, I honestly think that they are going to go ahead and draft a quarterback. I feel like they are going to be in that desperation era where they are going to go ahead and draft a quarterback as the second overall pick. And they will go ahead and draft none other than Miami's quarterback, Cam Ward, at number 2. Cam Ward, really good passer. He can also run the ball pretty well too. He's just chill in the pocket. Mainly, he is not really going to be, all over the place unless the pocket collapses. But he is really good at quarterback overall. Probably the best quarterback in this draft class for sure. And yeah, and I think there's no doubt about it that he's going to be the first quarterback off the board. So bam, Cam Ward off the board. The next guy that we're going to talk about here is the New York Giants. The New York Giants need a lot of things: quarterback, tackle, D line, corner. They need a lot. But I honestly think that for the Giants, I honestly think that they are going to go ahead. And if I was a GM and this is how it's going so far, I will go ahead and get one of the best athletes available, if not the Heisman Trophy winner, Travis Hunter, with the third overall pick, despite needing a quarterback. And the reason why I say that is due to the fact that not only is Hunter a legit athlete, play receiver and corner, but he is also a game changer. He is one of the several game changers in this NFL draft, and I highly think that what the Giants need right now is they do need a quarterback, but they also need a superstar guy. And I honestly think, yeah, they are going to be fine with Russell Wilson. Like if this, like what's it called? If this was like how do I say it? But like if this was like a couple months ago, so like about a month or two ago before the Russell Wilson signing, I would say go ahead, get Shador, get your quarterback situation out the way, right? Wrong. He now they got Russell Wilson, so I honestly think they're going to go with Travis Hunter here. So Travis Hunter going to the Giants, 100%. Now the next team is the Patriots. The Patriots, they need a lot of things. They need not a lot of things, but they do need some offense though. Running back, receiver, O line, and at this point in time, Drake May needs an offensive line that can block for him pretty much. And he also needs a running back and receiver, as we can see. Defense is perfectly fine. It's just the offensive side that's holding them back. I honestly think they are either going to go with one or the other. Or not one or the other. I feel like they're just going to go with one person and one person only. Or not one person, but it comes down to two people. And that's Ashton Jeanty and Will Campbell. Campbell, really good offensive tackle. Really good player for them. And I highly think they do need one. But I highly think they need another playmaker. Because Drake May cannot just be the only one out there just throwing the ball, making plays, trying to make plays or whatever. They need somebody like Ashton Jeanty who can run the ball really well and is really unpredictable in that backfield. So I honestly think Ashton Jeanty going to number 4, I feel like that is going to be the smartest move for the Patriots. If not, they need a playmaker. They need a playmaker right here, right now. Getting a running back at number 4 is kind of crazy, unless you're like an Adrian Peterson. But I highly think that Ashton Jeanty at number 4, I feel like it's going to be somewhat good for them to come. So yeah, Jeanty at 4, I feel like it's a valid pick, despite not really that many running backs get drafted at number 4. Now the next team, we are going at number 5, is the Jacksonville Jaguars. And with this Jaguar selection, it is going to be difficult because you got a lot of needs: receiver, tight end, D-line, safety. I mean, for tight end, you could go ahead and get Tyler Warren or somebody like that, but I don't think they're going to draft a tight end top 5. You would have to be really, really good at tight end to be the top 5. I mean, the tight end class is pretty good, but like you got to be like elite talent or something to be like a top 5 pick as a tight end. And I don't think nobody in here is like that. But honestly, I think Jacksonville with a top 5 pick, getting a wide receiver at number 5 is kind of crazy. So I feel like that the Jaguars, they're going to go ahead and get a defensive line, somebody who wreaks havoc in Mason Graham out of Michigan. Mason Graham, he's a really good defensive tackle. He can get to the quarterback. We've seen it this year. He had multiple sacks, and he's gotten inside the backfield a lot. Get a lot of pressure. I highly think that getting Mason Graham for Jacksonville, it perfectly fits them. And not only that, they get their defensive line situation out the way early in the round instead of trying to look for one, because I don't think the defensive tackle position is not that deep. So yeah, Mason Graham, get him and call it a day. Now the Raiders. The Raiders, they need a lot. They have the 6th pick. They need running back, receiver, D-line, corner. They need those. And if there's one thing I know about this Raiders team is they need a playmaker. They need an absolute legit playmaker on this team. And I'm going to be honest, amongst all playmakers on this team, so yeah, with the Raiders situation, whatever. Yeah, they just got Geno Smith as quarterback, but do I think he's going to be a long term? No. So do I think the Raiders can possibly go for a quarterback here? Yes, but I don't think so. And the reason being is they do need playmakers. They need somebody who's going to make plays. They need just someone who can make plays straight up. And I honestly think the Raiders are going to go ahead and get, if not one of the best receivers in this draft, and that is T Mac from Arizona. Reason being, T Mac's a really good playmaker, and honestly, getting that receiver out the way, getting the receiver problems out the way, I feel like they are going to go ahead and be fine with getting T Mac in at number 6. Even though it's a risk, I honestly think that is going to happen. And now number 7 is the New York Jets. The New York Jets, they need quarterback, they need receiver. I mean, they do have Garrett Wilson, so not really. They do need tackle and defensive line, but I feel like they do need tackle. And honestly, I think it is an obvious decision that they need a quarterback or tackle, but there's not really no quarterbacks in the future that's going to be really like good or whatever. So if there's one thing I know about this Jets team, I feel like they're either going to trade back a little bit, trade back and get a quarterback in like a later round, possibly. So like a guy like Jalen Miro, or just go ahead and get a tackle immediately. And I feel like they're going to go ahead and have that tackle situation out already in Will Campbell, despite needing a quarterback really badly. I feel like they're going to get Will Campbell out of LSU. The next team, Carolina Panthers, they need a receiver, edge rusher, DB. Bryce Young just finished his second year. If not, he had his best year and had a way, well, not best year. Well, yeah, it was his best year, but a way better year. I definitely think that Bryce Young needs a receiver, so I think they're going to go ahead and build around him. He was their former number 1 overall pick back in 2022, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, they just need a receiver and somebody who's going to make plays instead of having Adam Thielen be their wide receiver 1. So with that being said, I definitely see this team going ahead and picking up a wide receiver in a guy such as Luther Burton III. Small receiver, really quick. Definitely think he is going to be a guy that is going to get drafted in that number 8 pick, even though it is a risk, but I highly think they're going to get him. Now, number 9, I say the New Orleans Saints. The Saints need a running back. They need a receiver and a defensive line who's going to wreak havoc. If there's one thing I know for sure and one thing for certain, their defense was pitiful and the offense was also kind of pitiful too, with Derek Carr at quarterback. And this quarterback class is not good already, so I honestly think they are going to go ahead and try to get a defensive lineman. They're probably, and if they do get a defensive lineman, I feel like they're going to get somebody like Walter Nolan, or they might go ahead and find somebody else bigger and better. So a guy such as, hold on, let me bring it up here. Yeah, like a guy such as Kenneth Grant, maybe. Probably go down a little bit deeper in Derek Harmon or Talik Williams. One of those guys, but I highly think that it's not going to end up being one of them. Neither Walter Nolan. It could be one of them, but they should hope that they fall later in the draft, like not get picked up in the first round and probably be second round, which there probably is going to be, and that's when they go after D-line. So I don't think they're going to go after D-line. And if I was a GM for the Saints, highly I would see receiver and running back, but I highly think receiver, I need another threat. You do need another threat, or they do need another threat, but I don't think they are going to go ahead and pick them up. And there's one thing for sure, I think they're going to go down in the later rounds. But honestly, I do think they are going to go down in the later rounds. But if they don't, I feel like they're going to go ahead and situate the quarterback position possibly. They're going to look at the quarterbacks. They're going to see who is the best available. And they're going to see Shador and Jalen Milroe still up here and probably go ahead and get Shador at number 9 to get their quarterback situation out of there and pretty much say goodbye to Derek Carr pretty much. Now the Chicago Bears, they have running back, defensive line, and safety. honestly, I feel like the offense wasn't all that good, even though they have Caleb Williams at quarterback in a pretty good receiver room. I honestly think they are going to try to get the running back position situated and get another, I mean, not another, but a good running back in not Ashton Genty, but Omarion Hampton. And I feel like it's going to be a pretty obvious pick due to the fact that Omarion Hampton, he is another playmaking running back who can catch the ball and run the ball really well and help Caleb Williams out pretty much in the backfield. So yeah, getting him 100%. And then for the 49ers, they lost a lot in the offseason. And with that being said, I definitely think the 49ers are going to go ahead and go for a offensive line, mainly at the tackle or guard position, due to the fact that they needed. They needed a lot. Their offensive line was pretty bad. They're probably going to go ahead and look at the offensive tackle and look at Ahmad Mimbu, get him and pair up with Trent Williams. So yeah, get him in the later round, or not later round, in the 11th pick, and I feel like it's going to be the most safe pick for them. So Ahmad Mimbu going to the 49ers, I highly think that's going to happen. Then we go to the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys, they need a receiver, they need a running back, they need a guard, they need an edge rusher. They need a lot. We know. I mean, receiver, they do have CeeDee Lamb, one of the best receivers in the league. But I highly think that the Cowboys are going to go ahead and look at edge rusher here and go all the way down here and just see, oh, we need an edge rusher. We need somebody to get to the ball and help Micah Parsons out. And I feel like he is going to go ahead in the first round in, or the GM, Jerry Jones, I feel like he is going to go ahead and make that risk and take an edge rusher to pair up with Micah Parsons and a guy such as Mike Green. Mike Green, yeah, that is a risky call, honestly. And yes, getting Mike Green, risky. And the reason being is not only is he from Marshall, but he played in not the best competition. And I mean, his draft stock was not bad. I mean, not stock, combine wasn't that bad. You know, did pretty well in the combine, all that, put some solid numbers up, did well in college. I feel like Mike Green, he's not going to be a bad fit for Dallas, with that being said. And then the next pick we're going to talk about here is the Miami Dolphins. Dolphins need a lot. The guard, the tackle, and D-line, the corner, they need a lot of those. They need them. And honestly, I think that the Dolphins here, their defense was bad this year. Secondary was mid at best. But I feel like that they are going to go ahead and draft a corner. So I feel like they're going to go ahead and be the first team to draft a cornerback in this draft class and go with the best one available in a guy like Will Johnson. Yes, I see Will Johnson going ahead and getting drafted by the Miami Dolphins. And I feel like it's going to be a good pick and a good fit for the Dolphins due to the fact they need a secondary. So, yeah. Now, the Colts, they need a lot here. They need a tight end, a guard, edge rusher, linebacker, safety. In the Colts, they do have one of the best guards in the league in Quentin Nelson. But I highly think that they are going to either get a linebacker or tight end. And the reason being is that the tight ends are not that well for the Colts, and the Colts lost some linebackers in the offseason so far. So I honestly think that the Colts are going to go ahead and draft none other than the best linebacker available, in this case being Jahad Campbell, or not Jahad Campbell, Jalen Walker from Georgia. I feel like they are going to go ahead and draft and get the linebacker spot out the way. Now the next pick that I do want to talk about is the Falcons. The Falcons, they have Michael Penix Jr. They're going to build around him on offense. And I feel like they're going to continue building around him on offense. They do need a receiver and center on the offensive side of the ball. And I feel like that they're going to go ahead and pair him up with a good receiver. So with that being said, I definitely said no questions asked. And they are going to go ahead and draft a guy like Emeka Egbuka, which I think is not going to be a bad pick. with the 15th pick. And then the 16th overall pick. The Arizona Cardinals, they need a guard, a defensive line, and corner. If I was a GM for the Cardinals, I would go ahead and pick the best defensive line available. He's been sitting there for like the past couple picks now, and that's Walter Nolan from Ole Miss, who's been really good. Walter Nolan, he can disrupt the pass, and he can also fill the gaps up in the run game. So I highly think that he will be a really good fit for the Cardinals. And then for the Cincinnati Bengals here, I see them. They have linebackers. They need linebackers and D line, and they also need guard play because their guard was absolutely bad. And this year, their defense was really, really bad, especially the secondary. And if there's one thing I do want to say is that the fact that they let Pittsburgh put up 30 plus on them, and their offense wasn't that electric or that good last year, should be ashamed. So I honestly think that like they're going to go ahead and draft a guy like Jadi Barian from Texas. I mean, it's not a bad pick either. I think it's a good pick. They need corners. That secondary was absolutely horrible. So yeah, get in the corner, yeah, definitely. Worth it. Seattle. Now the Seattle Seahawks, they're another team. Needed line play. Their line play was pretty bad this year. Edge rushers wasn't really the best. They don't really got nobody getting after the ball. But I feel like the position that we're more concerned about is the O-line position. Not only that, the quarterback position too, but mainly offensive line because the line was pretty bad. And I honestly think that they're going to go ahead and draft an offensive tackle in Josh Simmons. Actually, not an offensive tackle, my bad. An offensive guard at that. My fault for the tomfoolery. But I definitely think they're going to go ahead and get an offensive line. Or hold on, let me go back. They're going to go ahead and get an offensive line in Tyler Booker from Alabama. Getting picked up this early is pretty surprising, but they need their needs. And I feel like getting the offensive guard like Booker is going to be the safest pick yet. Now the next pick is going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 19 pick. Edge rusher, linebacker, defensive back. They need those positions right there. And I honestly think that for the defensive side, their offense is cool with Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. That's a really good offense. But I feel like they are going to go ahead and draft, or not draft, but go ahead and get a defensive player. So, for example, they're going to go ahead get a linebacker in either Demetrius Knight, which I don't think they're going to get, or Jahad Campbell. But it is going to be obvious they're going to get Jahad Campbell from Alabama, and they're going to get their linebacker position out the way on defense. Now, the Denver Broncos, the next team on this list, they need a running back, receiver, center, and defensive lineman. But I highly think the one thing they really need, or they're really going to go ahead and get, is a defensive lineman because their defense was pretty bad. Or actually, the one thing I think that the Broncos are going to get is a receiver. Yes, with pick 20, I feel like they're going to go ahead, get a wide receiver, look at them, and see which one is the best available. But I highly think they're going to dig deeper into the receiving room or receivers and go ahead and pick up a guy like Trey Harris out of Mississippi. Maybe risky, but I think that Trey Harris is going to be a good receiver for Bo Nix and this Broncos offense who went on to make the playoffs this year. And I highly think that getting him is going to be a great move. Now, the Pittsburgh Steelers are up. Steelers, a lot of things happened. They went 9-8. They went to the playoffs, got beat by Baltimore by 2 possessions. I honestly think they need offense. Offense. That is the number one thing they need. Quarterback, running back, tackle, they need it all. Safety, I don't know why I said safety. They have great safeties in Deshaun Elliott and Minkah Fitzpatrick. They need a quarterback right now. If they don't get a quarterback, they're going to get a running back. And that running back is probably going to end up being a guy like Krishan Junkins or a Cam Scabito type guy. One of those guys are going to get picked up. I honestly think they're not going to go ahead and get a running back though. They just signed Kenneth Gainwell to a 1 year deal. I don't think they're going to go ahead and try to draft one, but I do think they are going to go ahead and try to get their quarterback. Even though there's not really that many quarterbacks in there, that's the quarterback of the future or whatever for this team. I highly think they're going to go ahead and dig deep into this quarterback room and draft Jackson Dart. If they don't draft Dart, like say for instance, Jackson Dart, he gets drafted by a team like I don't know let me go back. Yeah, if he gets drafted to a team that really needs a quarterback, such as like the Colts, who else needs a quarterback? The Jets, somebody else. If he gets drafted earlier, like a top 10 pick type quarterback, but I don't think he's going to be top 10, then I'll say Jalen Milroe, but I feel like the Steelers' first option will end up being Jackson Dart. So yeah, Jackson Dart going to Pittsburgh, I 100% see that. And now the next round, or not the next round, the next pick is the Chargers. Chargers really good season. Honestly, I feel like they need a receiver and a tight end. And honestly, since they got the 22nd pick, I feel like they are going to go ahead and now draft the tight end, if not the best tight end available in Tyler Warren. I feel like it's going to be pretty obvious because guess what? No tight ends are going to get drafted in top 10. I'll be surprised if they're even top 15. And I feel like it'll be the right time for them to draft a tight end in Tyler Warren. Now the Green Bay Packers, on the other hand, they got a good, they had a good season, really surprising. The secondary wasn't the best, even though they have Jair Alexander. Other than that, I don't think they have really anyone else. And if there's one thing they need is wide receivers. They do have a lot of pretty solid receivers that get the ball equally, but I honestly feel like they are going to, what's it called? I feel like they are going to improve their receiving room. Well, obviously improve their receiving room, but they're going to go ahead and get somebody dynamic and explosive. And if we're talking about explosiveness and dynamic and really good receivers like that, you already know who I'm going to talk about. What did I say then? My bad. All right. Yeah, I think they're going to go ahead and pick up a good offensive guard in Tate Ridledge. Ridledge. I feel like that's going to be the safest pick for the Texans, and honestly, he's going to be the best one amongst everybody else. Highly, not really much to say about that. He's just a really good player, though. He is a good player. Watch this film, pretty solid. So yeah, getting Rutledge, I feel like it's going to be a pretty good pick. And it's loaded again. Hold on. All right, now the next guy that I think, or the next team that is going to be on the clock will be the LA Rams, and they need a tight end, tackle, linebacker, and corner. But I highly think they do need a lot of defense, but they also need a lot of offense. And I feel like they're going to go ahead and draft themselves a tight end in Loveland, Colston Loveland from Michigan, second best tight end in the class, and I feel like it's not really going to hurt him. Also, he can be used in a bunch of other ways, such as play actions and run that little flat route, or he can go ahead and run a corner route. And I feel like they're going to go ahead and draft Colston Loveland. Even though he is a tight end, I still don't care. I honestly think that the Rams are going to get him. And yeah, that's all I got to say. And now the Ravens are up. With the 27th pick, I think Baltimore, they had a really good season with Lamar Jackson. They have a really good offense. The line's pretty solid. It's just the defensive side and they need corners. And I feel like their secondary is all right. They have some good corners, but I feel like they're going to get another safety to pair up with Kyle Hamilton and Malachi Starks, who can play really well. Not play really well. He can play really well. And not only that, he's just like a really good ball hawk or whatever. And he can just make plays. I've seen his film. He looks really good. and I highly think that he will be drafted at the 27th pick to Baltimore. So Malachi Starks, I definitely think he is going to be 27th. Now the next guy, or the next team, is the Lions. They're 28th. They have a lot of really good talent on this team. Their team needs receiver. They already have Amon State Brown and Jamison Williams, two of the best receivers in the game. They have really good edge rushers. They got Aiden Hutchinson, who can get to the quarterback really well. And linebacker, I feel like they are going to go ahead and get a linebacker. The linebacker play was somewhat solid. The linebacker play was somewhat solid this year, but I feel like they are going to go ahead and get a linebacker. And that linebacker that I am talking about that they are going to go ahead and get is the man who's been sitting there for a while, and I honestly think they're going to get Demetrius Knight Jr. It could be a boomer bust. This might not be. This is a little bit of controversial pick for Detroit, and this will be controversial for me to even think that Detroit will go ahead and get a linebacker like Demetrius Knight Jr. But I don't think the Lions linebacker core wasn't all that good last year, and I honestly think they're going to go ahead and just draft Demetrius Knight in order to get a good linebacker. Now, the next team, I think, or the next team that is going to be on here is the Washington Commanders. The Commanders, they've had a really good season, really surprising year with the rookie quarterback and Jalen Daniels. I highly think that if there's one thing they are going to get and one thing that they're going to have, or not have, but one thing they're really going to need is running back. Running back, yeah, corner. I mean, it could be secondary too. I mean, if you look at the corners, I mean, there's a lot of really good running backs still there, but also a lot of really good corners. It's really going to be hard for one or the other, but I honestly think that they're going to go ahead. They're going to go ahead and probably draft a corner because you still got Benjamin Morrison in here, Trey Amos. You got some pretty solid corners in this that's still available at this time in period or whatever. You still got them. Or you can go to the running back room where you have so many decisions and don't know who you want to get. But if the Commanders, I think the Commanders do have a second round pick. So with that second round pick that they have, if they do have a second round pick, or if they trade for a second round pick, go ahead and get yourself a running back. Get somebody like Cam Skadaboo, Dylan Sampson, Caleb Johnson. You can get any of these guys in the second round, honestly. Any of these guys, pretty much, I feel like they're all still going to be available by second round. So, yeah, I don't think they're going to go ahead and get running back, and they know it themselves, and they're probably going to go ahead and get themselves a defensive back, which the corner play was pretty bad, despite making it all the way to the NFC Championship game, losing 55-23 to the Eagles. I honestly feel like they're going to go ahead and get themselves a corner in Benjamin Morrison. And I feel like it's going to be a good pick. Not only that, it is going to be pretty safe for them. He played really well all year at Notre Dame. And I honestly think that he is going to be the answer at their secondary position. And it's going to turn out as a good corner. Now, the Buffalo Bills. The Bills. Man, their offense was electric this year with Josh Allen, Keon Coleman, James Cook. They had a really good offense. Line's been really good. If there's one thing that's holding them back, I think is defense. And I honestly feel like that they are going to go ahead and possibly, I don't know about linebacker, but maybe go ahead and draft maybe an edge rusher. They're going to say James Pierce Jr., Donovan Izaraku. You got Shamar Stewart, Markel Williams. You still got a lot of really good edge rushers here that they can go for. But I feel like the one guy they are just going to go for is the man himself. Hold on, let me go up. The man himself, James Pierce Jr. He's been a disruptor for Tennessee this year, and I highly think that him going to the Buffalo is going to be a great pick for them, and I feel like he's also going to be a steal. Now, the Kansas City Chiefs. Yes, the Kansas City Chiefs here. I highly think the Chiefs, I think there's one thing and one thing for sure that the Chiefs are definitely going to get in this year's draft, or they really want. Forget about defense. Forget about the playmakers. They got playmakers. They got Worthy. on that team. They got Mahomes. They got a lot of good playmakers, man. But one thing for sure and one thing for certain, they are going to definitely draft an offensive tackle in Josh Simmons. This is the very, very, very obvious pick. If he is somehow not drafted in the top 15, top 20, he's getting picked up by Kansas City. No doubt about it. No questions asked. That line really, really needs help. Especially what we've seen in the Super Bowl. I highly think they are going to go ahead and do that. And then the last pick in the first round, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Super Bowl champions, the team that won it all. This team is stacked. Offense to defense, best to almost worst. I wouldn't say worst, because the worst players on the team is, yeah. But they did lose some guys though. But the one thing they did lose, they lost a couple guys like Kenneth Gainwell, Darius Slay. They lost both of them guys to Pittsburgh. They lost a couple other people too on top of that. But they still have a really young team, and they all on low contracts, which is the great thing about it. And I honestly think the Eagles are going to have. Hold on. I do got a good feeling that the Eagles are going to hit on this draft. I feel like they're going to take another big hit and end up hitting the lottery with this pick. And that is going to go ahead and probably be, not probably, but I feel like it's going to be somewhere in the receiving room. And they're going to look at the receiving room, maybe get Isaiah Bond here. Yeah. May get Isaiah Bond, Tez Johnson, possibly Troy Horton. You got Matthew Golden, Eric Almeyer still there. Or you can go ahead to the defensive side, since they want to be edge rush. What's it called? Since they want to be game records on the defensive side of the ball, probably get another edge rusher in Donovan Ezerku. I don't think they're going to get him nor Kenneth Grant, but they're going to look on the defensive side, I feel like, in this first round, like they did last year, and go ahead and draft another disruptor. And they're going to look. They're going to look ahead, and they're just going to go ahead and just draft anyone and then make them a stud. I got another feeling. And they're probably going to go ahead and get a steal in Markel Williams. I feel like that Markel Williams is not going to be a second round pick. I don't know why it says second round, but I highly think that it is going to be second round. And I honestly think that Markel Williams can go on his Eagles defense and become a dog like every other Georgia defensive player who's played for the Eagles this year. And with that being said, y'all, thank you guys for enjoying this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I will be posting this Saturday. And I will also post some more videos since I'm finally back after a week. Well, not finally back, but I am back. And back and making consistent videos. And with that being said, y'all, thank you guys for enjoying this video. If you guys want to see more of this, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And don't forget to follow the Instagram page. Link will be in the bio. And with that being said, thank you guys for enjoying this video. Peace.